into that. Alright guys, welcome to the video. I'm here to make a tutorial on Swords of Gurrah, a newly released sword fighting game in VR on Steam. Now, when I say sword fighting, I don't mean that this game only has swords. There's a lot more than that. But before I get into any of that, I'm going to cover the basics. So first of all, every person has a knight, is they look like. You can customize them by helmets, shoulder plates, armor, whoops, I just changed mine there, and skirts. In order to view your character, and color, sorry, in order to view your character, you want to open your menu, click on the mirror, and you can see yourself. This is where you can change your helmets, in order so you can customize your character. Now, this section here in the lobby is where you can view your weapons. We have a shield, a short sword, a glaive, a double-bladed blade, a shuriken, a disc, and if we go on the other side here, we have a spear, a long sword, a battle axe, daggers, the short sword again, we have hatchets, and another shield. And this section over here is discs and shurikens and a little throwing range, so you can practice throwing. Yes, weapons do hurt if you throw them, and this could be just about any weapon unless two-handed weapons. Now, we're gonna start off with the simplest, which is the short sword. This weapon is a balance of kind of all the different types of offense. So we're going to cover offense first. When it comes to attacking, there are 3 different types of damage. There's slashing. See, that did 47. There's stabbing. Or no, sorry, I slashed again, my bad. But see, it, depending on how good you do it, perfectly placed, it did 60 there. That's as much as this can do as of this update. There's stabbing, which can do the same damage if you're good enough. See, it did 60 there. And there's throwing. I can't exactly throw, but that's an example right there. Now, that's basically the same for all of the weapons, but before I get to the other weapons, I need to cover defense. One-handed weapons and some two-handed have the defensive form of hardening. Sword here, sorry. If you hit an opponent or a wall or a floor or anything, if your sword collides with something, it will shatter. If you hit an opponent who also has a sword, yours and their sword will both shatter at the same time. If they take damage, it shatters. It's just like that. Now, to keep this from shattering, your blade from shattering, you can hold the trigger, depending on what VR you're using. I'm using the Oculus Rift. You can hold the trigger down, and it will harden your blade. Now, if you block and harden, if someone else hits you with an unhardened blade, your blade will be fine and theirs won't. Note, there is a delay going in and out of hardening. It's a half a second delay. For example, if I harden my blade as I'm swinging like this, it's not going to do anything. Or it did something there. Like, okay. See, there you go, sorry. It's not doing anything because I timed it right, but normally what you want to do is harden first and then, do your thing. Sorry. It was hitting every time, my bad. It was hitting every time because I was hardening. It hadn't fully hardened yet, so it's still technically unhardened. So you want to take that into account when blocking. If someone goes to strike at you and you go to harden and they hit you anyways, it's because you didn't harden in time. You need to harden just before it happens. It's the same thing going out. If that's what I was talking about, if you go to strike, it's coming out of hardening. So if you do this, it's not going to hit. Unharden as you're swinging. So you need to unharden and then just get your timing. Know the timing, practice a little bit with it, know your timing. That's defense. Oh, sorry, there's one more factor of defense, which is a little more offense, but if, I'm going to use this example again, if you block like this, and they hit close to your hilt, notice the respawn times of the blades. This one was much faster. That's called a parry. The closer the damage is to your sword, or to your hilt, the faster yours will regenerate. So take that into account for trying plays without hardening, because sometimes that's a little too much. Now, I'm going to move on to the other swords, or to the other weapons. That was the short sword. I'm going to move on over to the shuriken and the disc. Now, these are basically the same weapon. Obviously, it's a different hitbox. Like, this is bigger. Now, if you are dual-wielding weapons in this game, they do collide with each other, like in your hands. So if you're dual-wielding anything, you want to kind of just get used to not doing that. Otherwise, you could mess things up with fight and you know, in a bad situation. Now, these can be used in a brawling manner. People use them to brawl. They use the discs to brawl sometimes. These are mainly meant for throwing. Like that. I'm not very good at throwing, but for throwing, like that. So I'm gonna move on to this. Now, when people start to play, this is usually the first thing they pick up. It looks amazing. You can harden it. And to harden, you'll notice if you press the trigger, nothing happens. You'll have to press the trigger with both hands, and the blade also will not ignite unless you're holding it with both hands. So you have to press the trigger with both hands to harden. Now, this weapon looks like an epic weapon to slash like this, but you see it didn't do that much damage. This is not a slash weapon. This is a stab weapon. See, just one blade did as much damage as the other slash did with both blades. One, just like that. So, yeah, that is the double-sided blade. The glaive, try not to mistake the glaive for the spear. Note that the spear is green, like that, and the glaive is blue. You can see the difference is the glaive is more of a blade than a pointy tip. Now, the glaive is meant for slashing, so a distance slash. See, that did 60 damage right there to the head on a slash. If I run over to the spear, also no, because I'm holding it in both my hands, they're not gonna ignite until I drop one and grab this. See, now it ignites. This is not very good for slashing. See, if 1 damage, it's stabbing. Spear is stab damage. Just like that. Also, if you throw the spear and the glaive because they're javelin-like, you know, pull, like the spear. See how it's straight? That one, just like that. Also, note that the spear and glaive cannot harden. These weapons can't harden. If I press the triggers, nothing happens other than locking. You could set your locked hand. If I press the trigger on my left, then it locks in place in my right hand and I can move. If I press the trigger on my right, I can do that with my left. If I press it on both, they both lock, giving me more control. Some people, personally, if I were to use this, I would lock my left hand in the back, more here, and do this so I can get a good poke in like that. So you cannot harden yet. If I get it, so if your blade goes out, or just in general, you can block Okay, sorry, you cannot do it, but you can block with the pole. So if, say, you hit them like this, or you hit their blade, their hardened blade, and then they go to swim at you, you can block with the pole. It will reset the blade again. It will shatter again as it's regenerating. So this is an entity that you can block. Alright, I'm gonna move on to the shield. Now, the shield, if you can see, it's got 4 segments in it. I can hit 1, 2, 3, 4, go out. And to be honest, there's not really much I can say about this other than it's simply just a shield. If they hit it, it's going to shatter their blade, which you may think is a little powerful, but at the same time, think about it. If they have to have this big, bulky shield and attack at the same time, they're not going to have a lot of room to attack with because they don't want to shatter their own shield and blade. So if you're wondering if you can shield that, you can, but it's not going to do much. So it only goes out 2 so I have, you can dual wield shields and just punch people, but it's not going to do much, is all I'm going to say. Alright, so we're going to move on to the long sword here. This looks an awful lot like Cloud's busted sword from Final Fantasy VII. Now this, if you notice, this is a dual-wield weapon that can harden, like this. This is a bulky blade. It's obviously it's harder to block with or be mobile with than the short sword is, but if you get a good slash to the head, that was an amazing slash to the head, but you could bring them down to about like 8 in one slash with this thing. If you're good with it. I personally use the short sword. I like its balance, so I'm not too good with the other weapons. Also, note that you can block with this rail here. If your blade has gone out, you can block with this. And this favors slash damage, obviously, over stab damage, because of how big it is. Now, the battle axe here. The battle axe, you may notice, when you hold it, it's got 2 blades. You can actually hit 1, 2. Because of that, if you go in for a mighty slash, it will hit both blades like that. If you get hit, like, I can't really make an example because I can't dual wield weapons, but if someone hits it with a hardened blade, hits one of these with their hardened blade, the other will still be there. So you can turn around, like if they hit it with their hardened blade, you can turn around and with that second blade. This is a slash damage weapon. Now, onto daggers. Note that you also can hold the weapons backwards. It's cool, it's a cool addition, but realistically in a fight it's not going to be too helpful. You want as much range coverage as you can get. So the blade, this is actually one of the best weapons in the game, believe it or not, just a blade, because of the fact it's tiny, it may not do too much. I mean, that did a lot of damage, but that's a good stab to the head. But notice its recovery time. It's a lot faster than the others. So the fact that you can recover your blade faster than a short sword user gives you an advantage in a fight. These are going to go at the same time. If you get punished, if you get hit, it's still going to regenerate at the same time. But if you get a hit, that's when it's going to regenerate really quick. That's at that point you would be dead. You just get up in their face and you get those hits with the dagger. That's a stab weapon, is the dagger. Now I'm gonna move on to the hatchet, which is our last weapon. The hatchet can harden as well. You can also dual wield them because of this, from what I've noticed, because of this little arch it has. I'm gonna use this as an example. Actually, no, if you've got someone that's using their cover and they're blocking, you can use the hook-like shape as an advantage to kind of get a good hit on them like this. This is a slash weapon. It's basically the short sword, but purely slash and with a little different shape. It looks pretty cool, I have to be completely honest. See, about 49 damage right there. See, it does not do as much damage as the short sword, but in this patch, there's actually going to be a patch tomorrow for the damn uploading right now. They are going to fix things, so these damage numbers will be different. I'm just covering the basics on how the weapons work, slash damage, that kind of thing. So that's how our lobby works. If you want to know how to get into a game, you want to open your menu here, you want to go to multiplayer, and there should be some servers open. If you don't want to play online, you don't have to, it's okay. You can walk over here, grab the weapon really quick. Yeah, I'm gonna walk on over here, through this door. It's gonna count down, and it's gonna say Monster Arena. Now this is going to put you in the Monster Arena, which is, it's basically a wave survival player versus entity PvE. Now it's gonna send robots that will progressively get harder at you, and at the end you'll get a nice boss fight. I personally am not a player versus a PvE guy, so it's not really my thing, but for those of you that got this game, didn't know that it was only PvP, or did not know that it was PvP, and kind of just, it's not really your thing, then hop in this and try it out and maybe see what you like about it. It's loading right now. My computer's being a little slow because of my recording software, but yeah, there we go. So it's going to open this larger says over there, wave 0. It's going to count down, I believe it's going to black out and it's going to start it.
Start.
Like this. Give me my weapon back. I personally like to use only one sword. That's just my playstyle. It's one of the drones. These first level drones, they roam around until they spot you, and then they dart straight at you. Like that. Oof. Okay,
Start.
my game had a little freeze there, but yes, there it goes straight at you like this, and you're simply just gonna
start.
You tell them who's boss. Now, at some point, they're gonna start throwing a bunch. At some point, they're gonna start throwing different enemies at you. Ones that can shoot. That
start.
Kind of thing. And this is gonna genuinely get quite difficult to do a load. They will add, as of this video, they have not added a multiplayer. This is only single player. But they are talking about adding a multiplayer mode to this so that it's easier, because they are aware that it's quite hard. I mean, look how many of these guys are hard to press the B button. If you hold the B button on your setting, toggle and hold. If you press the B button on your right hand control, it's going to take your hand away. It's going to just you will go into a run mode. I'm just going to finish this here. And see the next one is, I believe they start to go this wave.
Start.
Yeah, so I just finished the wave and it should be starting the next. Yeah, see, look, they look different. They're gonna charge at me. They're gonna do a little beeping sound and shoot some things at me. So
Start.
chase after me. Just gonna go try to get away from me. Anyways, if you want to leave, just go into your bed and you press locker room, and it's gonna automatically put you back into your locker room, like so. I know it's froze, but yes, here we go. Now we're back. But yeah, overall, just I can't exactly teach you guys how to be total gods at the game. I plan to make future videos on styles I've made with the sword. I probably get to using the other weapons, but not yet. I'm just loving the sword. But for now, that's the basics, and I hope you guys have a good time in the battlefield.